Small town. Damn, that's you strictly.
Ladies and gentlemen, in a week which featured the matchups for the Champions League quarterfinals, NCAA men's conference championships, NFL free agency frenzy, we are back once again to give you all the real in sports. I'm your co-host, Small Town EP, joined by Wade Julian, live from New York City. And you are now tuned into your number one sports talk show on the All Things Sports Network, brought to you by Small Town Productions, ticker up top, brought to you by ESPN Bet, and it's very accurate. June, good to see you. Had to take a week off or a day off because I was under the weather. Is not even. I had to send you a voice note. I had to send you a voice note so you knew how serious it was, bro. How you doing, man?
I'm doing good, man. It's good to see you. Good to see you in better spirits. I know it sounded pretty rough earlier this week. I believe that was. So
Monday.
I'm
Yeah.
glad you're good. You still sound like you're kind of getting over it.
Yeah.
I was gonna say but we appreciate you for your efforts today, man. NFL free agency was crazy, so I'm ready to get into it. But we got a lot to talk about. We got to figure out a way to, I guess, consolidate a little bit because it's been a while. Monday's coming again. We'll be back, but there is a lot to get into, so I'm excited.
Hey man, then let's get right into it since there is a lot. We're gonna start in Indianapolis with your Colts, bro. We've talked about this, a lot.
That's where you want. That's where you want to start. All right, let's go.
We've talked about this a lot, and through our personal group chats and personal texts and things like that. You've had a lot to say about it on social media as well. The Colts do sign Daniel Jones. I don't have the contract details.
1 year, $14 million, worth up to 17 and a half, I believe.
Yeah, that's some good incentives for Danny Dimes. I don't want to ask you how you feel about it because
Danny
I know how you
fucking
feel about
dollars. I don't know about Danny Dimes. I ain't never seen him throw a dime, but I've seen him make some money. I'll give him that. So we're gonna have to change his name. They saying Indiana Jones. He gonna have to earn that one to me. I ain't gonna lie. I'll call him Danny Dollars because he done made some bread in his career. I'm sorry.
No, you're good. I know that you have your reservations for lack of a better term or a better word about the signing, which I wholeheartedly agree with you on. Now, before we get to those, could you? Now it's been a couple days. In any sort of way, rationalize the signing and say, hey, maybe they were thinking like this, and this is why they did that?
For me, I believe that at the end of the day, Daniel Jones is a true professional, right? I think he handles himself as well as any other quarterback in the league, especially given what he's been through in his young career. I mean, granted, he hasn't helped himself much with his play, but in terms of going from being selected as a sixth overall pick in the draft to getting paid over Saquon Barkley to taking them to the playoffs after struggling for a few years to dealing with a lot of injuries like neck injuries and to then kind of just getting soft released after getting benched and then sign with another team's practice squad who looks like they're competing for a Super Bowl. It's been a lot for Daniel Jones. And again, I just want to say that I think he's been nothing but a professional about it. So if there's one good thing, that sounds crazy, but if there is one good thing I can say about Daniel Jones is that he is a pro's pro. He seems like he carries himself with a great attitude and a way about him. So welcoming that energy and character in the building is definitely something I'm not opposed to one bit, right? I can definitely see where front office sees that, there are reports of Anthony Richardson being late to some meetings or possibly not being the first one there, last one to leave kind of guy. And so maybe he can see from a guy who, you know what, we're going to give you some competition. We're not going to give you all the competition. And if you can't win this job, then I don't know what to say. He should absolutely win this job. And I expect Anthony Richardson to win this quarterback job going into 2025. However, through him, getting the test of the competition skill wise, I think the big test is, and maybe not even a test. Maybe front office is looking at this like, we're just going to put a great example of how to conduct yourself around here and go off that. And not to say, I mean, we had Joe Flacco, right? So this is is not to say we didn't have a guy who was one of the most competitive and uh, to this day, the reason he's still in the league is because of his work ethic and what he's done to be a pro. So I just think that his time was done. Flacco, we found another guy who can fill that role and in a sense teach Anthony Richardson by observation. Um, that's kind of how I can understand it. Also, you look at all the other quarterbacks that were available at the time, and you're just what I mean, it's like between eating eggplant and tofu. Like for me, that's how I feel, and so I'd probably choose eggplant as well. You know.
Yeah, good eggplant parm, bro, from the right Italian spot. Nah, you're not. You're not. I
So,
feel you. I feel
hey, but maybe you're like the Colts GM or like Joe Shane. You believe in it. You like eggplant parm. That's your thing. And maybe guess what? Maybe we go to the fire Italian spot and go get an eggplant parm, and I like it. I don't know. All I'm gonna say is this: the last time I spent 5 minutes or more talking about Daniel Jones on this podcast, I believe it's only happened maybe 3 times max because I remember draft night. I remember the AFC East preview,
you.
or excuse me, the NFC East preview, and I also feel like we spent some time talking about him
When he was balling.
a year when Saquon got paid or didn't get
Yeah.
paid actually. So through those events, the last time or one of the last times I spoken about him, it was bad. It was the NFC East preview, and I kind of said I don't understand the Giants and Daniel Jones, this, that, and the third. And he went out and had his career year in 2022, 2023. Took them to the playoffs. Unfortunately, lost in the first round to the Eagles, who ended up going to the Super Bowl that year. And that's what then I guess prompted them to pay him over Saquon. But nonetheless, man, I don't want to just come on here and bash Daniel Jones. At the end of the day, he joined my team, and I'm not a fan of bashing players for no reason anyway or anything, but much less a player from my favorite team. So from now, I'm just gonna I'm gonna hold it down. Like I don't think that he should be the starter of this team. I think Anthony Richardson is our future. I hope that our coaching staff fully believes in him and gives him the opportunity, our front office alike. And we just kind of have to go from there because this whole thing is tricky when it comes to young quarterbacks and development and what their time frame is. Chris Ballard, it's so crazy because on day one of free agency, he goes out and gets us 2 defensive backs, which we'll break down a little more later. I know this is the Daniel Jones subject, but the second day of free agency, he goes and signs Daniel Jones. So it's like, we have one good day and then we're like, oh man, what is this? So yeah, I don't want to keep going on that. I hope he's not our guy, is what I'll say.
Yeah, I don't think that quarterback battle for whatever lack of a better term once again is going to be much of a battle. AR should definitely win that battle, be the starting quarterback. I
Right.
I can totally see how you were able to rationalize it down the road, and once you were able to sit down and things like that.
Yeah.
I just think that there were so many other places you guys could have gone. O line, possibly. Once you go, defensive back, boom. Let's go get the O line now. Protect Anthony Richardson. We saw him make some crazy and monumental throws last year under significant pressure. Could you imagine if that pressure wasn't there? If you were gonna add, and I said this to you, if you were gonna add anything to a quarterback room, this is purely speculative. I don't know that the Colts didn't do this, But I think you go get Justin Fields. Try to see, put something in the air over there and make the quarterback room culture kind of grow a little bit. I think that might have been the better look if you were looking to add a quarterback to the room. Uh, I don't know what was in Chris Ballard's head
So
when.
I'll say I disagree with that in the sense that you get Justin Fields, you're starting Justin Fields. I think Justin Fields is a starting quarterback in this league. And I don't know that if it's not like I don't even know who you would put him up against. I feel like he wins the quarterback battle of the like if he came to Indy, I would hope Justin Fields is better right now than Anthony Richardson, kind of like for him. And so if you sign Justin Fields in Indy, I think you're just sending a direct message like this is our guy, and that kind of wipes away all the hopes and dreams for Anthony Richardson with Indianapolis. You get a guy like Daniel Jones, it's like, I mean, he's good enough to compete through training camp and make you feel like this is an NFL product here, right? This is an NFL quarterback, whether he's the best or the worst, but
He's
he's an
been, yeah,
NFL
he's
quarterback,
been in this,
and
yeah.
he's been here, right? Uh, Justin Fields is like, I mean, you now you playing games, Now what do we? Why did we draft him with the fourth overall pick just 2 years ago? It makes no sense. So you still want to give him the opportunity to win the job. Not to say he wouldn't be able to win a job versus Justin Fields, but I think you're not showing him the true belief if you go and get a guy who, to me, is a starting quarterback in this league. Daniel Jones is definitely a backup quarterback in this league.
30 million, 30 million guaranteed, sign on the bottom dotted line, sir.
Yeah.
June, does this signing make the Jets significantly better? Could they be that second team from the AFC East to make the
No.
playoffs?
I mean, yes. I mean, yes, they can because
Anything is
it's the
possible.
AFC East, and to be honest, I think the Dolphins are going to have a great year. I do. I think they'll have a great year. They did lose some pieces, you know, um, so they have things to figure out. But I do think they should be better than the Jets, right? And a first year head coach, new quarterback, and a new system for his third, team. Yeah, I think the Jets will probably fall in that third or even fourth because the Patriots now we're gonna have to see what Drake May is. We saw some of him last year, and we got to figure out what that coaching situation is gonna be. And so right now, no, I don't want to give too much hype on the Jets. I think that they are a work in progress, and rightfully so. I just mentioned the new coach there, trying to build, a new culture in that locker room, out with the old, in with the new type of vibe. And with that, I think it takes time through transition. So um, I'm excited to see what Justin Fields can bring. Me and my boy Ray, shout out to Ray. We went to a few Jets games this past year. We hit each other up. Like he texted me the signing. I'm like, yeah. He's like, yeah, let's go see Justin Fields. He's like, yo, we gotta go to opening day. I'm like, I'm not gonna lie, bro. Opening day, I got to be at the crib watching the Colts, man. It's been too long of a summer for me to wait till opening day and like go watch the Jets. It sounds crazy. So definitely throughout the year, I'll go tap in with the Jets and Justin Fields, see what they got going on. And I do think he can be the face of New York one day, and maybe not the best quarterback in the league or a top five quarterback, but do enough and win a lot of games over there in Meadowlands or whatever they call it.
Keeping it in the AFC, I want to take it over to Baltimore, who signed two wide receivers this week. One of them taking DeAndre Hopkins from Kansas City to Baltimore on a 1-year, $5 million deal. Is this one of those signings? We saw the Baltimore Ravens continuously in the last couple of years teeter on that conference championship, possible Super Bowl expectations, but falling short. Is this one of those signs that can get them over the hump?
Was this sorry? Name the receiver one more time. Was this the DeAndre
D Hop,
Hopkins?
yes, sir.
Okay,
1 year, $5 million.
I was reading. It's funny. Apologize because I was focused on the chat, and I want to say shout out to the chat. Shout out to SP. Shout out to Jason, Chico, Gabe. Listen, in the chat, if you read right now, I say crazy how I still didn't get my apology. We about to go back to back, and that is Strix talking about Celtics. I thought we did a little something with that. You know what? We'll get to that when we get to that. And since we're here now and it's already about to be April, you might as well just wait till you go get knocked out in the Eastern Conference Finals, and we could just leave that where it's at. So, anyways, DeAndre Hopkins, they say Baltimore is where receivers go to die. And I won't necessarily just agree with that, but in recent memory, it has happened. We saw, with Dez Bryant, we saw with Odell Beckham last year. I mean, man, in that Super Bowl, DeAndre Hopkins had a big opportunity to put his name in the Super Bowl history with a touchdown pass, a touchdown reception, possibly because he could have caught it and got tackled. He could have caught it and, something could have happened. But it looked like if he at least caught it, there was an opportunity in the lane to score. He robbed himself of that. That's probably just the wear and tear from coming from Tennessee. Forgetting how to play football for a little bit, going through Tennessee's training camp and stuff. He tried to wash it all off for the Super Bowl, but fortunately couldn't make the play. But I will say this: a lot of players, especially on that Kansas City offensive line, could not make a play that night. So I don't blame him too much. I do think, however, all jokes aside, DeAndre Hopkins going to Baltimore is a help for Lamar Jackson. It's a guy who can win his one-on-one, and anytime you have guys that you need to put more attention to, I don't want to say DeAndre Hopkins is a guy you got to double, right? But if you don't, because you feel like he's maybe a little older, step slower, he's still going to beat you, 7 times out of 10. So you're still risking it. And when you have a guy like Mark Andrews, which yes, shout out to Mark Andrews, I think it's time people kind of get over, the mistake from last year. It's time to get better and try to win this year again. It's uh Zay Flowers coming back, Rashad Bateman. It's a deeper room, and so yeah, I wouldn't say it's anything negative because DeAndre Hopkins is a phenomenal football player. He's always been one, and he's always had a great catch radius. He's always fit in where he goes. So I like the signing. It's nothing to me to like, oh, this is what they needed to be able to beat. But I think it does add a great depth uh, to their receiving room.
Keeping it in the same division, Miles Garrett was asking for a trade. Miles Garrett was asking for a trade, and they put essentially a blank check in front of him, and he was like, "Oh, you know what?
Yeah.
I know I said I wanted to win. I think I meant I wanted to win the lottery because Mans is getting paid." Big signing for the Cleveland Browns. Do you think that they can, along with the number 2 draft pick, they can kind of move past this era of shame that they've been stuck in?
Hey, I'll tell you what, and this just popped in my head when you said number 2 draft pick. This is my dream scenario for them because the Browns deserve it. I think the Browns understand, like, yo, Miles, bro, you kind of the best thing we've had, and you know what I'm saying? Shit, can't say ever because Jim Brown, man, the goat, but you the best thing we've had. You know what I'm saying? And so Miles Garrett, if I'm Miles Garrett, at least, or this is how I hope it went. This is how I hope it went. Miles Garrett's like, yo, I need a trade. They're like, what? Bro, come on. Miles Garrett like, bro,
I'm trying to
you see what's
win.
going on over here. You know what I'm saying? Y'all boys got Massage Boy. Y'all boys got
Massage was
DTR.
crazy.
Y'all boys got James Winston over here doing all this bullshit on TV. I'm trying to win. They say, yo, look, Miles, we got the number 2 pick in the draft. What you want us to do? He said, take Shador. If they take Cam, take Shador. All right, we take Shador. We'll give you this check. All right, bet. And this is again me. This is me. What I hope went down in that meeting because it obviously could have been like, you know what, Miles? How about we just make you the richest fucking guy in NFL history and you shut up? And it could have just been like, yeah, he's like, you know what? Hell yeah, trade me in a year or two or some shit. But in my dream scenario, he had some dictation of like, what the hell y'all gonna do with this pick? Because I'm tired of this damn franchise. I want to leave. Y'all could pay me and I'll be happy, but at the same time, I still want to win. So we drafting this black quarterback, right? And so, yeah, I mean, dream scenario.
Yeah, 4 years, 160 million. 123 and a half guaranteed when
Hey,
you
they
sign on
go
the
ahead and
bottom.
draft Abdul Carter and be like, "Hey, here's your pair on the other side." He gonna lose his shit, boy. I tell you. Boy, I tell you. Yeah. All right. Yeah. Now we got the rookie of the year. I mean, yeah, great rookie of the year. But we're 7-9, coach. We're 7-10, coach. You know.
Hey man, like I said at the beginning of the segment, man, he's claimed he wanted to win, and I think he meant the lottery. What do you say, June?
Yeah. Nah. Chico Gay says money talks, which yeah, I mean that's overall for sure. Shout out to Ray in the chat. Jeffrey Champion. He said, "I still don't get it. Kenny Pickett hate. Why is everybody hating on the man? Jameis Winston was more fun than Joe Flacco, in my opinion." And he said, "Well, we have it. Went out and got a receiver." And Andrew Berry said, "I see Travis Hunter as a receiver, so they might get Travis Hunter." It sounds like he's talking from a he deleted it. Sounds like he's talking from a Cleveland Browns perspective, fan perspective, and I agree. I mean, James Winston is 100% better to watch than Joe Flacco. I'm a Colts fan. I watched Joe Flacco come in for my quarterback who we benched for tapping out and throw 4 interceptions and 2 fumbles in 3 weeks. Like, I understand, but at the same time, I watched the Monday Night Football game that was very exciting from Jameis Winston, where he fucking folded at the end, and we know what we're getting from him. You know what I'm saying? We know what we're getting from him. So anybody that has Jameis Winston as their starting quarterback, I don't say this with hate. I like the person, but I don't think he's going to win you much. And he's also a Florida State guy, so there's that. But going as far as like if Andrew Berry seeing them getting Travis Hunter at 2, they go receiver at 2. I mean, if I'm going receiver, I think I take Tristan McMillan. I believe that's his name, Tristan, from Arizona. You know what I'm saying? I could be saying that wrong, but Arizona number one, man. I think Travis Hunter is gonna. I think he's gonna come out as a DB. I thought he should have come out as a wide receiver because of what I'm saying, that contract when it's time. That should talk a little louder, but uh, man, Cleveland can't go no quarterback, bro. That'd be crazy to me. I'm not gonna lie.
Nah, I agree.
He said
I
Joe Flacco. He said Joe Flacco didn't have to throw it 60 times like Jameis either. If we would have if we would have cut it at least in half, he wouldn't throw as many interceptions. I tell you what, that's true. But he still would have threw half of that number, and it would have equaled out. But I'm talking a little shit. I do get your point. Shout out to you, Jeff. Um, but I mean, we're talking about Joe Flacco, you know what I'm saying? And we talk about Jameis Winston. And when you have the number 2 pick in the draft, when you got 2 prospects in the draft, 3, I'm throwing Jackson Dart in there. I think Jackson Dart can be a really good NFL quarterback. So if you have guys like Shador, Cam, and Jackson Dart available, and you go in defense, I mean, you guys have had a great defense for a lot of these years. You know, that's not going to win you the games. You need a quarterback that could take over in this league, and you got to take a shot too. I'm not saying I think Cam Ward is a lock as the next great quarterback, but and Shador should be, but it's still a risk. You're still a draft pick. It's still a prospect, and you got to feed into him as he tries to feed into your organization. I don't got too much more on Cleveland because I feel like we spent enough time on them as it
Yeah,
strikes 9
facts.
o'clock on the Eastern Standard Time.
Facts. And word to Jeff. Last thing, you know how what I say
You
about
know,
him too. If
he started with Kenny Pickett. We didn't even talk about Kenny Pickett.
if it was a fifth, we'd all be drunk, man. We'd all be drunk.
I got
Hey,
nothing to say about Kenny Pickett, man.
last last team that we'll talk about in this division, Cincinnati. They franchise tag T Higgins. They bring
Mhm.
back a couple of defensive players. They sign TJ Slayton. My bad. They signed TJ Slayton, defensive tackle. They bring over Samaje Perine, who didn't play a lot for Kansas City last year, but when he was on the field, he was extremely
I
efficient.
think Kansas City knows how to use Samaje Perine, but
Fair.
and he's going back to Cincinnati. He played there with their
Yeah.
Super Bowl year, I believe.
Um, I mean, this is a team that has to kind of operate under financial constraints due to all the money that's being allocated to the offense, particularly, I mean, on defense. They have to operate financially constrained on the defensive side of the ball because of the $60-80 million that's being allocated to the offense. We know we know the team can score, but can you stop the other team from
Right,
scoring? Is the question.
right.
So I guess I respect them bringing back a couple of defensive tackles
One
and then
second.
signing TJ. I'm not too sure what else we're gonna see from Cincinnati if they're it, June. This is like the telltale. If you always do what you've always done, you'll always get what you always got, and you can't continue to run it back with the same team over and over again, expecting different results. How do you feel about the Bengals free agency thus far?
Well, as you mentioned, I mean, they don't have much options. Trey Hendrickson, to me, I think they got to trade him and free up some of that money because, uh, like right now, yeah, I think with Jamar Chase, what he demands, and Joe Burrow alone, Cincinnati's just in this weird purgatory right now, and it's gonna take at least another year or two for them to figure it out. So I, to me, that's it's nothing really much going on over there for they just lost their DC too. They gotta figure out what how they want to attack offenses this year as well.
Whew. All right, let's take it to the South. I know we spoke about Indianapolis and them signing Daniel Jones when we started the show. Houston Texans trade for receiver Christian Kirk last week before trading away their all-pro left tackle Tunzel, and then Tuesday they traded for defensive back CJ Gardner Johnson. We've seen Houston in the playoffs. We've seen what CJ Stroud can do. Is this a successful free agency for Houston thus far, June, in your opinion?
I mean, I don't think Christian Kirk is going to be that needle mover. I do believe he can stretch the field, and CJ Stroud is going to be up to that offensive line. They traded Laramie Tunsil, so I want to see what they do in this draft and how they address the needs that they don't finish off in free agency in the draft, because we know that they can draft. Houston has definitely had a good history of finding talent. They're going to need to find some talent for that offensive line because CJ Stroud was running for his life last year, and he's too good of a quarterback to waste, especially on his rookie year where we know what he's capable of. Yeah, they address that. They have a lot of young guys on defense, a lot of studs on defense too, who are in their rookie deals, and um, yeah, I Christian Kirk for me, it's going to be dependent on like can they protect CJ Stroud because if they have the time to find that ball downfield, he can get it, but he's not like a game changer, in my opinion.
Let's take it over to the AFC West. There is a Broward County boy headed to Las Vegas. Geno Smith signs with the Raiders after Max Crosby. Before Myles Garrett was the highest paid non-quarterback player in NFL history, but I digress. Geno Smith to Vegas. I like this signing for Vegas. I like the fact that Tom Brady is over there in minor, ownership, and I'm sure that he'll have some talks with Geno Smith, some mentorship with Geno Smith. I think it's a good signing for him. I like to see him succeed. I can't believe Seattle let him walk like that. What's your
Yeah.
opinion on the Geno Smith signing?
The Raiders never want to like admit they're tanking or give it up. Like they're always going to compete. I respect it. I mean, there's a certain competitiveness, and it takes guts, to even when things are bad to try to thug it out. But I like the fact that you know Pete Carroll going over there, Geno Smith going over there. It's a mix of young and young talent and vets because the Raiders do have some guys on their team like Max Crosby. I mean, their receiver room with Trey Tucker and Jacoby Myers is exciting for me. I don't know. Hunter Renfro, I believe, retired, so they're gonna have to fill a little bit there. And I also Darren Waller retired, right? Oh no,
Yeah.
Darren Waller went to the Giants though. He got traded to the Giants. So yeah, I mean, they're gonna have to find weapons around him, but the Raiders are competitive. They're not a bad team, and we've seen them compete with Aiden O'Connell, Gardner Minshew. You know what I mean? Like guys that you're not expecting too much from, but with the will that they wanted to play with, and after coach got fired and they hired AP, it was just like a little. They had a little momentum. Devontae Adams gets traded, and all this happens, and it kind of like I think the Raiders were like, all right, who's with us, who's not, and then went and found their new coach and are trying to figure this thing out. So I think it's a good signing. He's at a time right now, Geno Smith, where he knows the game. He's been here, done that, and at least ebbs and flows gone through it. When I say done that, he's gone through the ups and downs of this league as a quarterback and as a starter, professional. So I think this is a good step for the Raiders in before finding maybe their you know face of the future, um, while being able to at least maintain competitiveness right now.
Keeping it in the division, Los Angeles Chargers. Whew, they bring back Khalil Mack. I mean, one of the most respected players in the game at this point. $18 million, 1 year, fully guaranteed. Come get your paycheck,
Yeah,
playboy. They bring back Mike Williams after he spent the season over in Pittsburgh, uh, and they signed Najee Harris, running back. And this is, a typical hardball move. Ground and pound.
yeah,
I want to tire
yeah.
this defense out. Uh, are they helping I almost said Joe Herbert. Are they helping Justin Herbert in your opinion, June, right now?
Yeah, I think Harbaugh did a great job last year establishing what he wanted to do with this team. And these are some signings that kind of just point right to it. I mean, like you said, Mike Williams just has familiarity, right, with Herbert. Um, it was tough because he went and played with Aaron Rodgers and the red line, had that moment. And he gets traded to Pittsburgh where their quarterback situation is like, if you don't have one, if you have two quarterbacks, you have no quarterbacks kind of thing. And Russell Wilson just fizzled out by the end of it. Um, Najee Harris also had a really good year last year for what it's worth. Like Pittsburgh, to me, offensively wasn't special at all. Their defense really, really won them a lot of games, and then they made plays when they had to. They kept it competitive on offense. But Najee Harris was consistent throughout the year, so I do have to credit him there because I did say before going into the year that he probably wasn't enough. For I don't know exactly what I said, but I wasn't too fond of them still having Najee Harris. But he did play hard enough, and with the right system, with the right coaches and belief behind you and weapons around you, you can do more. So um, I'd be excited to see like a little rebirth of Najee going to play some physical football over there in Los Angeles.
Let's take it over to the NFC East, where got the defending Super Bowl champions and the Philadelphia Eagles. But I want to take it back up to your side of town, June, and the
Yeah.
New York Giants, who have been, a little quiet. Um, Quarterback position remains to, it's in question, remains to be seen. But they did sign Javon Holland, ex-Dolphin, and Chauncey Golston, ex-Cowboy, improving the defense a little bit. Good signings for the Giants to improve the defense, June.
Yeah, they definitely needed a safety after losing Xavier McKinney. It's just you don't sign Saquon and he goes on to win Super Bowl and play MVP football, best running back in the league, becomes the highest paid running back. You don't uh, re-sign Xavier McKinney, and he led the league in interceptions with 8, and was the defensive player of the year or candidate for it. But
Canada.
shit, this is like a makeup signing, And so when you have something good, you gotta appreciate it, hold on to it. They didn't do that multiple times, and I think this is just them saying, "Yeah, we should have stayed with oh boy," and we didn't. So they are meeting with Russell Wilson tomorrow. Aaron Rodgers also is considering the Giants, I believe. We see what's going on right now. They got the number 3 pick of the draft. They don't know that they're going to have their fair chance at Shador or Cam Ward. So it's not guaranteed, and I don't blame them for shopping around or looking around for quarterbacks. But if you want to, you can trade up to that number 2 overall pick and get a guy um, for the right price. Teams will be willing to move that. So I don't know, man. For me, it's got to see. It's
Yeah,
got to see.
Aaron Rodgers just loves to be talked
It's the
about. Some
Giants, bro. Like, what do we think the Giants are gonna do next year?
I'm sure Aaron Rodgers is loving this. He wasn't in the media for about what 4 or 5 days. I'm sure he was like, "Oh my God, what is going on?"
Right.
And now it's like, "Oh, just kidding. The Giants might want me. The Steelers might want me. This is great. You guys are talking about me again. I'm gonna head over to Egypt and hang
Yeah.
out for a little bit. I'll see you guys.
Yeah.
I'll see you guys for week one. Whoever signs me, I'll see you week one. How about that? Um,
Yeah, I'm not going to training camp either.
mandatory for who? um, hey, on the West Coast, the Rams stay with Stafford, and I'm moving on from Cooper Cup. Was it a smart decision, in your opinion, to move on from Cooper Cup, June?
Yeah, I just think time was up, on both sides. It was like a mutual, okay, we've had enough of you and vice versa. Not in a bad way or anything, but we saw the decline, and for whatever reason. And they also drafted a stud at wide receiver, Puka Nakua, on a
Mm-hmm.
cheaper deal. Sometimes you just got to make that move.
And unless you have anything else, I'll end with this team as far as NFL free agency is concerned. The Seahawks. We spoke about them earlier. They let go Geno Smith. They also let DK Metcalf head over onto Pittsburgh while bringing on Sam
And
Darnold.
they also cut Tyler Lockett.
And they also cut Tyler Lockett. And funny enough, they cut Tyler Lockett, and then woo, they cut Tyler Lockett, and then Metcalf was like, bro, like 30 minutes later in real time, was like, hey, bro, I'm gonna get up out of here too. Then
For sure.
I see what's going on here. They did bring on Sam Darnold, as I said. I try to say that without a smile, but I can't help but smile. What is going on in Seattle, June?
Mike McDonald, I think he has to find out what he wants to bring out of this team. Like, what is this team's identity? Because I now you looked at Seattle last year. It was never the pass rush. Um, them drafting Witherspoon and Woolen, Kobe Bryant. Their defensive back solid. They signed Jerome Baker over the middle, and they had, a playmaker like DK on the outside with a guy like Geno Smith throwing the ball to him, a vet like Lockett. So we knew, like, okay, and then you got Kenneth Walker Jr., right, who's a workhorse at running back, Zach Charbonnet. It's like, okay, this offense is balanced, very well balanced offense with a very pro style quarterback who can, Geno Smith, I believe, can make most of, if not all, the throws. Not every time, but he can hit. So there's this confidence of like, okay, we can go in the game, and if we need a game plan for a run heavy game or a pass heavy game, we can do that and play solid enough defense. Um, but we probably, gonna need help trying to get to the quarterback because we don't have so much pass rush. But now with letting your two wide receivers go, now Jackson Smith and Jigba becomes wide receiver one, and I think that's just like a pretty significant jump for him, and a new quarterback, Sam Darnold. So, I mean, man, for me, I think it's just establish an identity. If you guys are going to be a run heavy team because you guys have a really good running back and Sam Darnold operates well, under center. But I don't know too much of which direction they're going in, I guess, if I should say. But Jeffrey says the Seahawks didn't get an upgrade at quarterback, traded off their best two receivers. What are you doing? Yeah, I kind of feel like me and him sound the same. I'm confused, and so as I'm thinking about it out loud, it doesn't really make too much sense. Like if we're playing Madden and I look at the Seahawks, it's like, well, who they got, you know? So, I mean, draft season's coming up. We wait for the draft, see how they address it, finish off free agency. But it's not like there's going to be much change to this.
Yeah, and I did want to kick it over to the chat because chat's jumping today. We appreciate y'all. Jeffrey also mentioning that the Eagles paid Slayton the same amount of money that Saquon Barkley got.
Yeah.
Yo, I mean the Giants. I'm sorry, the Giants
The
paid Slay.
Giants.
Yeah, the Giants paid
Yeah.
Slayton the same amount of money that Saquon Barkley got. I don't know how any of that front office still has their jobs, but I'm gonna reiterate that
Well, the
until
owner's a
somebody gets
dummy,
fired.
the owner's an idiot. So, um, like if you know what, it's no point to go back 2 years at this point. But Chico Gabe said they also got Raheem Mostert.
Yeah.
That's the Raiders. I told my dad. My dad is a Raiders fan, so he texted me. I said, "Boy, them Davis, that Davis family gonna draft speed. They gonna sign speed, and they gonna eat, sleep, breathe speed. That's if you got speed, you can come play for the Raiders any day. So I don't know what that signing does for them. So much. I guess Mostert, yeah, cool, but to me, in a system like he was in Miami, obviously I'm gonna respect the fact that he led the league in touchdowns and played all pro ball. But Mike McDaniel's a great play caller at time. I think play designer. I don't know about play caller, but he designs the fuck out of a play. He just don't know when to use them. But with play design in that system in Miami, yeah, yeah. Mostert did great. You got to watch out for Tyreek Hill. You got to watch out for Jalen Waddle, both going vertical, some coming across the field. With Gasecki there at times, they have Achan. It was a bunch. It was a bunch, and so it gave him a great opportunity to be able to, uh, I guess, fly under the radar a little bit and not be the first or second or third option. Last year they just had John Smith, and he went off crazy with a great year. So. Yeah, I don't know how he's gonna fit in Vegas and how much of an impact I expect him to really have.
You have any
Uh,
other? No, you're good.
sorry, he said, "Hey," Jeffrey said, "Hey, at least the Raiders got Geno Smith. My team's looking at Russell Wilson, and we only have Kenny Pickett right now." Hey, man, tough times don't last. Tough people do. It's,
There it
it's a quote
is.
that sometimes you just got to repeat to yourself, even when it sounds annoying.
You got any other free agency signings you want to go through?
I do want to give Chris Ballard credit though. We started this off with the Colts, so I guess I'll finish with the Colts. Um, Chris Ballard has been the general manager of the Colts now 9 years. On day one of free agency, whether the Colts have a lot of cap space or not, we don't see Chris Ballard making any big moves. Typically, he would re-sign a player if there's like a player deserving of a big contract that we've drafted. He'll do the re-sign. We've seen Shaq Leonard. We've seen Jonathan Taylor's was a little dramatic, but we've seen Ryan Kelly's. We've seen Michael Pittman's and Quentin Nelson. So those are the guys that we were homegrown, and that's his belief. But we did we lit a fire in his ass this fucking off season, and also during the season when we were watching the product on the field, just letting him know that he has gonna have to come out that pocket some change, and we're kind of learning that it is his style, but it is also ownership too. But this ain't the Colts podcast, anyways. Chris Ballard on day one of free agency makes two great signings in a weak backfield, defensive backfield that the Colts had last year with talent like young guys like Jalen Jones, Sammy Womack, injured second round pick Juju Brents, who hasn't really got to make any impact because he hasn't been on the field. Kenny Moore is one of the elite slot receivers in this league. There's talent back there. Nick Cross, I can name a few, but we need guys that have made some noise. And a guy like Cam Bynum, who had an amazing year with Minnesota, and a guy like Charvarius Ward, who EP.
We'll work on getting June right back. Uh, since June was talking about his Colts, I guess I'll reference my Kansas City Chiefs. Last pod we spoke on how we let go Joe Tooney for a fourth round pick, and I was like, hey, I don't like letting him go for a fourth Super Bowl champion player for a fourth round pick. But hey, I have to trust based on the track record that we've had in the last half decade that, or you know what, in the last decade, I will actually go back an extra 5 years. In the last decade, that we're going to continue to figure it out. We'll continue to figure it out. And Lord and behold, we restructure Patrick Mahomes. Um, and we restructure Chris Jones contracts and free up 46 point something million in cap space. Something is coming in Kansas City, and we literally just got to wait on it. I am I, I'm hopeful, I'm trusting, and I'm trustful that we're going to figure it out as I bring June back up. Um, but something is definitely happening in Kansas City, June. I was just referencing Kansas City freeing up that
Joe
cap space
Tooney.
by yeah. Well, we spoke last week on Joe Tuning, fourth round
Right.
pick, and I was like, I don't know, but I guess I just have to trust the process, as they
Yeah,
say
yeah, yeah.
in Philadelphia. And Lord
It's
behold, this
funny.
week,
I knew you were gonna kind of lose me there, so I was trying to get it out a little quicker. But I did want to point out how I am really excited for Cam Bynum and Charvarius Ward in Indianapolis. Just to kind of go back to that real quick, we did need that head of the table corner. The Colts giving Daniel Jones $13 million was ridiculous. By the way, you could go rewatch the first 5 minutes of this. I do not want to get back into Daniel Jones until at least training camp, please, for the life of me. But yeah, we definitely bolstered up in the defensive backfield, and that's something we asked for as fans. We got it. He spent a lot of money, and money I think well spent. So happy there. Yeah, I think free agency's been crazy so far. We still got names on the board that we're gonna be like, okay, he went there, okay. So we'll let that time come. But yeah, yeah,
yeah, and just to give my last final thoughts. Yeah, I gotta be able to trust what Kansas City has been doing in the last last decade, and
yeah,
then the fact that we just restructured two contracts and Chris Jones and Patrick Mahomes, freeing up $46 million in cap space. Something's happening. Maybe we see something in the draft, on the draft charts that no one else is seeing. We're ready to just give someone a blank check that we may not know whose name it is, but I gotta trust the process, as they say. We freed up a lot of cap space. Um, Patrick Mahomes is in the gym already, training, working out, getting ready for next season. It'll be a chip on their shoulder,
yeah.
and I'm excited for this coming
Yeah.
season.
Jeffrey's asking, are the Colts looking to trade Alec Pierce? Just from my personal opinion, I don't think so. I think Alec Pierce had a breakout year last year. He played. Alec Pierce was actually like one of the only four people that I really appreciated from the Colts last year. And the other guy is also Josh Downs, who's another receiver. We
Georgia.
paid Pittman. We paid Pittman, so I believe those three guys are safe. And I think AD Mitchell being drafted in the second round by us last year was like a sign of like, okay, maybe Alec Pierce is on his way out. Maybe we don't play him as much, but he struggled as a rookie. He dropped some passes. He had some miscommunications on routes, and so for whatever reason he struggled. I think AD Mitchell's still a hell of a talent because his biggest skill set is being able to just get open. He be open. He just sometimes don't always bring it in. But he wins his ones, and he might be a future wide receiver Colt great. But right now, it looks like Alec Pierce's job is kind of safe. I mean, we're going to see training. I think what Chris Ballard needs to do is open competition up through training camp everywhere. Like we know Michael Pittman is wide receiver one, but Josh Downs might be wide receiver one for real. We know Jonathan Taylor's running back one, and that's cool, right? We know Zaire Franklin is our middle linebacker. We know we signed Ward. We signed Bynum to start. We got Quentin Nelson down there. But but if that's not your name, you go fight for your starting job out there. We're gonna see based on training camp what the depth chart looks like going into week one, and that's the best way I think that he needs to make it for competition's sake and for getting the best out of this roster this year. So that's kind of my take. Said he's wondering because you guys picked up Josh Palmer, unless you guys are looking to move for Michael Pittman. Nah, Josh Palmer actually signed with the Bills. So we didn't even talk about the Bills actually. And EP, the Bills did real good. They paid Gregory Russo. They
They
cut
did.
Von Miller. They signed Joey Boza. Uh, you know, they also Josh Palmer. From LA. They got a receiver. So I think they lost Cooper. What's his name? Amari Cooper. So, but yeah, he Josh Palmer. I believe, if I'm not mistaken. You can fact check me on that, but I believe he signed with the Bills yesterday. So
Chico Gay mentioning Mac Jones in the 49ers quarterback room now.
facts.
1 year, seven mi- 7 million. Hey, that's a lot more money than I got. I shouldn't laugh at that. But 1 year, $7 million. They're on the verge of possibly paying Brock Purdy a lot of money. Um, that's
Possibly
fun.
paying,
That's actually funny.
possibly paying, possibly paying Brock Purdy. Because if your boy is gone, right, all the boys is gone. Who you gonna throw it to? And are you even? No, we might figure this out again. We might have to try again. But
Hey, and you can't franchise tag him because then you still have to pay him 40 million over 1 year. So like, you might as well try to figure out 25, 30. Come on, bro. Like, I know you went to the Super Bowl, but did you win?
nah,
I'm just.
facts.
I'm just saying. I'm just saying. A couple things in the NBA I want to go over really quick. Last week we were talking about the Lakers unprecedented run, number 2 spot in the
Yeah,
West, and now Braun goes down and they are down to the
blew a
fourth spot.
tire.
Braun goes down. He's actually in LA, not on this East Coast road trip right now. They're in Milwaukee getting blown out right now. I think it's like 100 to like 79 or something. I can actually fact check that right now. It's 102 to 82 actually. So they're getting dubbed on the road. Luka does have 38 points. I was gonna ask, can we see the Lakers and Luka carrying the workload? But it's obvious. Can the Lakers make it out of the first round, June? At this point, without Braun is the question.
No, but I did see that Braun is labeled as day to day now. He's been upgraded to day to day, so they might not have to worry so much about the Luca led, LeBron less Lakers. Hopefully, we don't keep having to turn pages in this chapter. When you're reading a book and you're like, when is this fucking chapter over, right? And you just flipping that page, and you're like, ha, oh no, shit, damn,
Not
two
yet.
more pages. Like, damn, I got the double. But you like, yo, when I flip this one, I know that shit gonna be the last one. Um, I don't think they're gonna have to worry too much. Tonight is okay. They've been on a great run. They've actually improved to having the best defense in the league since like the 15th of January. So that's going on 2 months now. It's real, right? And it's funny. I saw that they've got the best defense in the league since January 15th. And I told my uncle, I'm like, look, bro, they added Luka Doncic, man, and they got the best defense in the league now. He's like, nah, no, 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 we're not doing that. I'm like, that's funny as hell. That's funny as hell.
Hey, you think there's any truth to the refs having a little vendetta on Luca? We've seen the push. I know you saw the push. I saw the push.
Wait.
Against
What you talking about?
against Brooklyn, last
No,
game.
actually, I didn't watch the Brooklyn game. I know they lost that game,
They
but I wasn't
did.
home. Actually,
Uh, they,
I was hooping in Harlem.
there was a crazy off-ball foul.
Damn, I
Like,
wish I saw this.
yeah, Luca got completely like intentionally pushed in the back,
Yeah,
and he stumbled, like rightly so. He stumbled like 3-4 steps, and then looked up and
right.
was like, "Yo, fam, like,
Yeah,
where's the whistle? Where's
right,
hey?"
right, right. I know the look. Oh, I'm looking at it right now.
Yo, yeah, it was crazy. He intentionally like wanted to like that's the schoolyard, in the lunchroom. Like, yo, he pushed him.
I mean, listen, I ain't gonna lie, Luca, bro. One of the reasons I dislike Luca is because of how much he cries. And if you had to watch, no, I can't even do that. But Luca just cries so bad, bro, and it's one element of soccer that makes me despise the game. I
I know
can't
you were gonna
I
go there.
can't appreciate the sport as much as I once used to, even during the World Cup matches. It just irks me when I see these guys, acting like a torn ACL, or like when you see this reaction on a basketball floor or on a football field, everybody like, it's like a what happened, and this happens in soccer every fucking play. So I, to me, Luka Doncic has that European soccer gene in his blood. That, I mean, he see a ref and just wants to do this. It's like he just has that, and it's pretty annoying when we talk about like foul merchants and Shea Gilgis Alexander's game being annoying, but like that complain shit, bro. Like, nah, bro, you be losing me. So He's been told about it that he needs to tone that down. He's been confronted about it from coaching, the league,
Shit, there's
refs, I should
rumors
say.
that he got traded about it. So
So, hey man, just play ball, bro. Look, refs gonna miss shit. Refs gonna call shit. Refs gonna call bullshit. Refs gonna be on shit. Like, just play ball, bro. Because guess what? You're not the only one getting pushed. You're not the only one getting fouled every time. Like, we don't see this from everybody,
yeah.
and it's excessive at this point.
Speaking of SGA, what is the stat? 60 straight games with 20 or more points. That is
Insane.
unprecedented, insane. Are you giving him the MVP nod over Joker though?
No, no. I and if you guys are still here in the comments, I do want anybody that's able to leave a comment. Just comment your NBA MVP right now. Appreciate the good energy comment, man. And Jeffrey also wants us to talk about the Pistons in a few, but he said, "Hey, that me, James Harden, he surprised me. The Clippers. All right, we'll get to the Clippers and the Pistons in a second, but I want to hear y'all MVP. I looked at the numbers the other day, and what Nikola Jokic is doing, averaging a triple double on the shooting splits of 57% from the field, 43% from three, which is a career high, and 80% from the free throw line. I mean, at second in the West, I mean, I think they dropped down to three or
They're
four,
three right now.
three,
They're three.
three today. The West is really close right now, but they were up to second in the West, right behind OKC. And the Nuggets are, I believe, 2-4 when he misses time this year after 6 games out. It's night in, night out. You could say the same thing for both of these guys. You got a game plan for them. He's gonna give you a headache, he's gonna play all game. But I think Jokic just does so much more. Now, I don't know how you're supposed to vote when it's like most valuable player. We say value, like if and here's my thing with Shea Gilgis Alexander. Would I be mad if he won the MVP? Absolutely not. I mean, his numbers, like if you just look at his alone, oh yeah, that's an MVP year. That's an undeniable MVP season. What Shea Gilgis is doing, he's averaging like 33 points a game. I mean, yeah, but when we look at, he's getting to the free throw line a lot, and I'm not taking that away as far as how he's getting his points, but I think Jokic is more of a pure game effector, if that even makes sense. You know what I'm saying? Like he has so much more of an impact on the game. And Shea Gilgis' defense is really, 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 really good. Really good. But I don't think it equates to just offensively what Nikola Jokic brings and the stress he puts on a defense.
Yeah, I gotta agree. I mean, there was even I actually believe that it was OKC's excuse me head coach talking about it the other day and saying that he had to implement a specific technique in order to slow down the game
Mm-hmm.
when Jokic is in, because their strategy, they being the Nugget strategy, is Jokic inbounds the ball and inbound it as fast as possible. We're cherry picking, we're going on a fast break, whatever happens. So he had to put like a standing sub, which he wasn't
Yeah.
really sure was a rule or not. But they got hit with a delay of game, and he was like, "Wait, I don't need it." So just like you were saying, his impact on the
Little
game,
things, yeah.
little things like that make you stress out when he's on the court. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Um, those little things add up, and pressure makes diamonds or bust pipes. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And
And this is real similar to that Russell Westbrook, James Harden. Like I mean, you look at those numbers, bro, and how do you deny one? I think one year James Harden had like 30 straight 30-point games, and
yeah,
Russ is averaging a triple double. It's like shit. I don't know. You know what I'm saying? I don't know. And so I'm not mad if SGA wins, and he probably does. And there will be a little. I will talk about a little bit of voter fatigue, I'm sure. But at the same time, man, like it is a deserving output, for an MVP. So I wouldn't be mad either way they spin it. Jeffrey does agree, or excuse me, he does think that Shea Gilgis is his MVP. He said Russell Westbrook, he deserves some kind of award. He's been phenomenal this year. Yeah, I mean, yeah, this is, and I think that's what Denver knew they were going to get out of him. But go ahead.
Detroit Pistons tied for fifth place in the East right now. Tied for fifth place in the East right now. Tied for the second best record in the last 10 games in the East right now. 7-3, along with the Boston Celtics, who are second in the East. Since when were they good? Is the question that was prompted in excuse me, in the chat by Jeffrey. Honestly, I, I've always had high hopes for Cade Cunningham, and
Yeah.
it was a bit of a slow start, and now I
Mhm.
think he's just coming to form. He's an NBA player. He's a
Yeah.
professional basketball
Yeah.
player, and he knows
Yeah.
what he's doing.
Yeah.
He's figured it out. He's figured it out. I
I
figured out what.
understand it now.
I figured out the how to maneuver the pieces that I have around me. You know what I mean? And it's clicking. It's not clicking at number 2, 3, 1 spot in the East yet. Absolutely not. We're in a conference with the defending the defending champions. What do you
Yeah.
want us to do? But we also not in the play in, and we not looking up at the play in either. I mean, it's just coming to fruition for them. How do you feel about the Detroit Pistons?
Yeah, I think that was well said, bro. Maybe we expected this a little sooner, right? Maybe we wanted more flash in his rookie season there. But the Pistons, it's been a struggle to find other talent to put around him. And, it's just been dreadful in Detroit for
Jaden
years. So,
Ivey goes down this year.
yeah, coming off of all that bad energy, I think the last couple of years have been positive and moved in the right direction. And so, alongside of Cade Cunningham coming into his own as a professional and NBA player, they're getting better. And also, the guys that they've drafted, like Jalen Duren and Jaden Ivey, are getting better alongside him. So, um, him, I love the line you said. Understanding how to move the pieces around him. Like he's becoming a true point guard, and if anybody watched him at Oklahoma State, I mean, we saw this. This is who Kay Cunningham is, right? And this is not a surprise of how good he is or the impact he's making on the league. It was just like a matter of time for him to be able to figure it out and make it impactful enough to win. Because he's been a baller. I mean, he's been a baller since he came in the league. But now what he's doing is translating to winning games and putting his team in a possibly first round matchup at home. Like that's crazy, Like to be able to say you're the fifth seed in the East right now, with a month and probably a month left, or less than.
I don't have. I would love to talk about the Clippers because I mean, I was what was it last season or 2 seasons ago? I was like, yo, this Clippers team, this. But honestly, bro, I bet Miami in the first half yesterday, man. Just thinking, hey, they can get it done in the first half. So fuck the Clippers, bro. I don't got no questions about the Clippers, man. Fuck them niggas for real, dog.
That's hilarious. That's hilarious.
Oh man, Drew, you got anything else you want to go over before we get out of here? I know that I mentioned college basketball at the beginning. There's a lot going on with
Yeah.
conference
Let's let it
championships.
develop though. I mean, we only got
Yeah,
quarterfinal round. It ain't that much. Like everybody who was supposed to win won, right?
yeah. Cooper Flag did go down today with a sprained ankle. He managed to make it back
Hey,
to the bench on his own will.
I I I
Um,
I I don't know that we see Cooper Cup until like a Sweet 16, possibly.
damn, sweet
Like,
night,
and this is just me.
bro. The
That
ACC
type.
championship is Carolina Duke. Is Carolina won today, and we're gonna see an ACC championship. I don't think he plays either in ACC. I don't think he plays an ACC
No,
championship.
he's done for the tournament. He's done for the ACC tournament. But I mean, the championship is probably like in a week, right?
I believe it might be in a
You're
couple
not coming
days.
back from that ankle injury in
Nah, not
two
that
weeks,
quick.
bro.
Not that quick.
No,
Not that
but
quick.
not even in 2 weeks. To be full speed, I'm giving him like 2.5, 3, and maybe even like at 2.5, like see how he's doing. You know what I'm saying? Like, can you go? Because we don't want the 52% Cooper Flag. We
Nah,
want
not at all.
Cooper Flag being able to go, get up and down the court, be the best player on the floor during the tournament. I don't know that
Um,
we're gonna be able to beat that, bro.
ACC championship game is tomorrow, so he's definitely not playing the ACC championship game.
Oh, it's
Um,
tomorrow.
yeah, tomorrow's the ACC
Oh shit.
championship game. This weekend, if I'm not mistaken, is Selection Sunday, which means we are a week out
Yeah,
from the
yeah,
dance. The dance will start probably Tuesday, Wednesday, if I'm not
yeah. I
mistaken.
think the Sweet 16 or so is like the 27th or something like that.
Yeah, yeah.
So
I think we might
I
see
don't
him
know,
in.
bro. I don't
I
know, bro. You think he starts in the tournament?
I maybe around the 32. I don't think he waits till 16. I think they try to bring him back in around the 32. Um,
I hope so.
what I will say is that the one thing this injury did do for me personally, as a Duke fan who has a Cooper Flag jersey, by the way, just to put that out there. The one thing that this injury did do for me as a Duke fan is confirm that ain't no fucking way this motherfucker's coming back to Duke next year.
Yeah,
It's just no way. He's in his head. I'm sure right now he's like, bro, I came this close. So you know what? Let me go get this paper real quick. Ain't no after the whole run it back rumors. Da, 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 da,
man.
da. And shout out to his mom for cheering him on when he dunked that ball and said on his fucking head top.
Facts. I hope he comes back sooner than later, but I mean, a 78-70 win against Georgia Tech doesn't leave me too excited to play North Carolina. So,
Hey, North Carolina needs this win tomorrow to make it into the dance. That is one thing's for sure, two things for certain. They don't make it into the NCAA tournament
you know
without
what?
it.
With that being
Without,
said, I'm excited to play them. Give me some respect, man.
without this win tomorrow, North Carolina does not make the dance. I can guarantee you that. Like you were saying, we'll let it develop. This weekend is Selection Sunday, so we'll definitely have brackets ready for next week. Whew, ladies and
Uh,
gentlemen. Yeah,
One more thing.
yeah.
Next week, we're gonna talk about Mikal Bridges and Tom Thibodeau's little thing. Um, I
Oh,
am
and
also.
can we talk about how he traveled crazy on that?
I
Forget.
mean, I mean that's. I could point out 3 travels I saw this week. So from not from him, but from all around the league. Uh, Rafael Devers says he's fine with a DH role if that's what the Red Sox say, and also Brianna Stewart had a minor scope surgery on her right meniscus. She'll be ready for the season training camp for 27th. So
Yeah, Garrett Cole, Tommy John. He's honestly, as a Yankee fan, trade that motherfucker at this point, bro. I just I don't like yeah. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
yeah,
And
bro.
did you see homegirl from South Carolina's women's team give away their play in the post conference?
No,
Chloe Skit, I think her last
I
name
did
is, or
not. I did
Chloe
not.
something. White girl. They
I
were
gotta
like,
check that on YouTube.
yeah, they was like, yo, she was just kind of detailed. She was like, yeah, I did, I was doing this, doing that on the court today. I feel like I did well. And my teammates kept yelling out 14. That's pretty much me. And then Don Steady was like, thanks, Chloe. And she's like, for what? She's like, you just give away our play.
That's crazy, yeah.
Oh man, hey, it's a great time for college basketball, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages. As we cross over this hour 9 mark, this has been your Thursday night NCAA Conference Championship, NFL free agency, NBA talk episode. Like I said, Selection Sunday this weekend. If you tapped in on the live, thank you so much. We appreciate you. If you tuned in after the fact on anywhere you can stream your podcast, we appreciate that as well for taking time out of your day. As always, please comment, subscribe, follow on Instagram, ATS Pod Official, on Twitter, ATS Pod, and we'll see